All right, so there are definitely 4 different professionals that you need to connect with before starting your private practice. Let's go. Welcome back. I hope all is well. If you haven't been here before, my name is Matt. I'm a therapist in private practice as well as group practice owner, and I like to make videos just like this to help other therapists start, grow, and run efficient private practices. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about 4 people you need to connect with before starting your private practice. And when I say need, is it crucial? Is it required? No, but it is highly recommended. So when I first started my private practice, I had no idea who to talk to or where to start. So I started Googling. And as I Googled and talked to people, I realized that there were other professionals that specialized in the business end of private practice startup. And I was blown away. For example, I didn't know that an accountant could help me start a business entity. I thought that they did year-end taxes. I mean, that's how limited I was in my understanding. No one in social work school ever taught me about business or what people do or how to help. So I didn't know. And so today I want to share with you who can help you, because even that is helpful information. Let's jump right into it. The first person that you should talk to is an accountant. Now, when I mention these professions like an accountant, I'm talking about an accountant who specializes in private practice or who specializes in healthcare. Now, there are tons of options out there. You can simply Google that. However, I will leave a link down below to my resource directory, which is completely free, has word of mouth referrals all organized for you to look through. And so why would we connect with an accountant? Well, as I just mentioned, an accountant is not only going to help you with your taxes, which by the way, when you start private practice, you need to pay quarterly taxes most of the time. They can help you do that. They can teach you how to pay that online. They can teach you how much you need to hold back for taxes. In addition to that, they can also help you establish a business entity. So my accountant actually taught me about PLLCs, he taught me about corporations, and he talked me through the differences and the tax implications for these things. Now, granted, a lot of it is still very confusing to me because taxes are just something I have a really hard time grasping. However, at the end of the day, he helped me get started with my PLLC. And now I have a PLLC established and I understand much more than I did before I started. Also, even now, as I run my private practice, I'm often confronted with tax questions that pop up, or there's a business question that pops up, and then I know who I can reach to. I can send him an email, and then he can answer me. So now I know where to go for these types of problems. And so I would encourage you, set up at least one consultation with an accountant before starting your private practice. And if you're not sure what to ask them, you can ask them how to pay taxes as a business owner, and you can ask them about how to start a business entity and whether or not that might be helpful for you. And now this second person is not actually a person, but it's more of an entity. I would encourage you to get connected with a corporate services entity. Now, when I first spoke to my accountant, he actually referred me to a company called Capital Services. Now, I think they define themselves as a corporate service company. At the end of the day, though, what they do, they were able to actually establish the PLLC for me. So they filled out all the paperwork, they guided me through the steps, they showed me what to fill out, and they submitted and interacted with New York State on my behalf. In addition to that, they also are my registered agent. Now, a registered agent is something that you want to have in place when you establish your business entity. So they offer that service as well. And so connecting to them not only helped me establish my PLLC and really move that process along for me, it also is another place where I can go with questions. Not too long ago, I completed a DBA, a doing business as part of my PLLC, and they answered all my questions. If it wasn't connected to Capital Services or another corporate services company, I don't know where I would have gone. I mean, you can ask other people who have done it, but they're not really the source of the information. And so I find it really helpful to get to the source of the information if you're able to, right? So asking an accountant about taxes is going to be much more effective than asking another therapist about taxes. Now, not always, but a lot of the time, going to the source can be helpful. Oh yes, there's a link to Capital Services website down below. They don't sponsor this video. I don't think they even know I'm making this video, but I found them to be a really great company, and I just want to spread the word on that because I think it could help you. All right, down below is the link. The third professional you're going to want to connect with is a lawyer. And once again, not just any lawyer, a lawyer who specializes in private practice or healthcare. Again, there are many of those specialty lawyers out there. I do have a few in my directory, which is linked below. Anyway, why would you connect to a lawyer? Now, a lawyer is going to be able to help you, obviously, with all the legal things. But what are those legal things? Well, first and foremost, they can help you with your intake paperwork, which includes informed consents, practice policies, HIPAA documents. They can make sure you have your HIPAA manual. They can make sure you're compliant. They can answer questions about telehealth, where you're supposed to be sitting, where their client should be sitting. A lawyer is going to make sure that you are practicing within the bounds of the law. This is going to help protect you. It's also going to help prevent malpractice lawsuits. It's just going to be it's going to be the peace of mind that you need to run a private practice. You do not want to be running a practice where you're unsure about whether or not you're following the right laws. And now for this one, for laws and legal things, I really encourage you to go straight to the source. And this is going to be a lawyer. Now, again, if you're not sure about what to ask them when you meet with them, here are a few things you should ask. You can ask them about your intake paperwork, your intake packet. A lot of times these lawyers will actually have a packet that they can sell to you that's written by them. These are really, really great. That's what I did. You can ask them about telehealth laws. There's a lot of confusion around that. You can ask them about laws in regards to insurance and licensure. So for example, can an LMSW accept insurance? Or what kind of documentation do I need to keep? They can also answer your questions about HIPAA compliance. So do I need a HIPAA compliant email? How do I make sure a credit card is stored properly? These are all questions that you can ask, and you would learn a great deal from at least one consultation with a lawyer. And finally, I would connect with at least one peer who has gone before you on the private practice journey. Now, when I first started my private practice, I did have a few colleagues and peers who had gone before me, and I can remember asking them a ton of questions before I ever started. They were actually the first people I spoke to, the first people I asked my initial questions to, and they really helped me along the way. And this is because you don't feel so alone. You feel like someone else has done it. You can kind of get support. You can help answer each other's questions. Having a peer who's gone before you can almost be like a mentor type thing. Or even if you're doing it with someone, you can help answer each other's questions. You can provide support to one another. Now, if you don't have any peers who have gone before you, well, there's a lot of communities online that you can connect to. You can find some on Facebook. I know Alma has a community. There's a lot of communities that can provide that kind of support and help to you. At the end of the day, connecting to a peer is going to be helpful. And so that's pretty much it for today. I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you learned something. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you soon.